I used to believe my marriage was solid. My wife, Candace, Candy, as she liked to be called, had been my partner for 5 years. We had our ups and downs, sure, but I never thought she would betray me. I worked hard to provide for us, dreaming of the day we'd finally start our own family. But those dreams died the day I discovered what she really was. It started with a gut feeling. Something had changed after I returned from a camping trip with my boss, Jake Hudson. Candy seemed distant, distracted, almost like she was living in a different world. Little things piled up. She'd snap at me over nothing. She'd spend more time on her phone, and then there was the moment that made my stomach drop. A pair of her panties tossed in the laundry had a hardened, unmistakable stain in the gusset. At first, my brain refused to process it, but as I stood there, holding them in my hands, the truth hit me like a freight train. Someone else had touched my wife. That's when I knew I needed to find out the truth. I wasn't the type to jump to conclusions. My heart was screaming, telling me I was crazy, but my gut told me otherwise. So, before my business trip to California, I visited a lawyer, Ruby Hawkins, to understand my options. "Are you certain your wife is cheating?" she asked. "Not 100%, I admitted. "But if she is, I want a divorce." Ruby laid it out for me. I needed proof. Solid, undeniable proof. So I did what I never thought I would. Installed a tracking app on her phone, a recording device on our landline, and even hid an audio recorder in her purse. It made me feel sick violating her privacy like that, but I had to know. Then, as if fate wanted to slap me in the face, Candy handed me my confirmation on a silver platter. The night after I left for my trip, she told me she was working as a waitress at a party Jake was throwing. She claimed one of the other waitresses had canceled, and Jake had offered her $150 for the night. I knew Jake. He never mentioned a party before I left. The knot in my stomach twisted tighter. Still, I played along. "Okay, just be careful," I told her. That night, I barely slept. The next morning, I called her. No answer. Called the home phone. Voicemail. Then came the email from the investigator. "Candy spent the night at Hudson's house. She was very busy last night. Attached are some photos. Be warned, they're graphic." My hands trembled as I clicked the attachments. And then, my world shattered. There she was, the woman I loved, my wife, completely naked, tangled up with 3 different men: Jake, Mike, Jake's son, and 2 others I didn't even recognize. My vision blurred. I felt my pulse pounding in my ears. I was drowning in rage, betrayal, disgust. I tried calling her again, voicemail. Then another email, more photos, 10 men, including Jake, his employees, and Mike's friends. I gripped the phone so tightly I thought it would shatter. My love for her twisted into something unrecognizable, something dark, something I had never felt before. I completed my business early, caught the first flight home, and when I landed, I checked the tracker. Her phone was still at Jake's house. I called her. She picked up finally and answered in a breathless voice. "Hey, babe," she said as if nothing had happened. "I'm just finishing up a few things before class starts." I forced myself to stay calm. "I see," I said. "Well, I'm heading home." "Oh," she gasped. "I missed you so much. Call me when you land and I'll pick you up." Lies. All lies. "No need," I said. "I'll take a taxi." She hesitated. "Okay, I love you." I hung up without saying it back. By the time I stepped into our house, I had made my decision. She had no idea what was coming, and I was going to make sure she never forgot. Candy wasn't some drop-dead gorgeous woman who turned heads wherever she went. She was just normal. Shoulder-length brown hair and average build, the kind of woman you'd pass on the street without giving a second glance. But she had a warmth to her, or at least I thought she did. A kindness in her smile, an easy laugh that made me feel at home. When we met, she wasn't anything spectacular, but she was real, or so I believed. I was never a flashy guy myself. "My name's Tim. I work in IT, nothing glamorous, but it pays well. I like simple things. watching football on Sundays, tinkering with my old Mustang in the garage, grilling out on a Saturday afternoon. I was never the life of the party, never the guy people gathered around, but I was steady, reliable, the kind of guy you could count on. We met in college at a small bar just off campus. It wasn't some movie moment where our eyes locked across the room. No, we were just two broke students complaining about overpriced beer. We clicked. She liked that I listened, that I wasn't like the cocky frat guys always chasing after her. I liked that she was down to earth, that she didn't play games. It wasn't love at first sight, but it was easy, comfortable. We got married young, too young maybe, but we made it work. At least I thought we did. We always talked about having kids, but life kept getting in the way. She had a job as a school teacher, and I was climbing the ranks at my IT firm. Money was finally looking good, and we told ourselves, next year. We'll start trying next year. But next year never came. And now, looking back, I wonder if she was ever planning on it at all. The more I thought about it, the more things started adding up. The distance, the sudden attitude changes, how she always seemed tired. Too tired for me, but never too tired to go out with her friends. The random arguments over nothing. And then there was Jake. Jake Hudson was my boss, and Candy had always hated him. "He's a pig," she used to say. "The way he looks at women, it's disgusting." But the way she talked about him changed after that camping trip. She stopped complaining about him, stopped rolling her eyes when I mentioned him, and now I knew why. I sat alone in our house that night, staring at the photos the investigator had sent me. My wife naked on her knees, her head tilted back, eyes closed, lips parted. 3 men around her, using her like a damn toy. And that was just the first picture. The second, there were more men. The third, even more. I lost count. My hands shook. My heart pounded so hard I could feel it in my skull. Then I heard the garage door open. She was home. I forced myself to stay calm, forced my hands to unclench. If I lost control, I wouldn't be thinking straight. I needed to play this right. She walked in, tossing her purse onto the counter like it was just another normal night. Her hair was slightly damp and she smelled like body wash. Probably showered at Jake's, scrubbing herself clean of the men she'd been with before stepping foot in our home. I stayed seated, gripping my phone. The pictures pulled up. "Hey, honey," she said, giving me a tired smile. "You're back early. Why didn't you call?" I looked at her, really looked at her, at the woman who had promised to love me, to be faithful, to build a life with me. Something in my expression must have been off because she hesitated. "Tim?" I turned the phone around, showing her the screen. Her face drained of color. She took a step back, her breath catching in her throat. Where did you get that?" I stood up slowly, my chair scraping against the floor. "You want to explain this to me, Candy?" Her mouth opened and closed. No words, just silent panic. Then the lies started. It's not what it looks like." "Oh, it's not?" I barked out a laugh, shoving the phone in her face. "Because to me it looks like my wife spent the night getting fucked by half the damn IT department." Tears welled up in her eyes. "I was drunk." "Bullshit!" I roared. "Drunk? You weren't funning drunk, Candy. You were enjoying yourself. You think I'm blind? Look at yourself. Look at what you did." She flinched at my tone but didn't deny it. For a split second I thought maybe she'd own up to it. Maybe she'd beg for forgiveness, drop to her knees and cry, tell me how she made a mistake, how it didn't mean anything. But no, she got defensive. "You were gone," she snapped. "You're always gone, Tim. Always working, always running off on business trips. What did you expect?" I blinked. What did I expect? She threw her hands up. I was lonely. Jake made me feel wanted. The rage inside me burned white hot. "Wanted?" My voice dropped dangerously low. "You felt wanted by fucking 10 men in one night?" That shut her up. I stepped closer, towering over her. "Did you ever love me, Candy? Or was I just the idiot paying the bills while you played around?" She shook her head. "Tim, don't. I held up a hand. Just don't. I walked past her, heading for the bedroom. She followed me, panicked. Where are you going? To pack. Tim, wait. I spun on her so fast she nearly stumbled back. Wait for what, Candy? For you to come up with more excuses? For you to tell me it didn't mean anything? For you to fucking lie to my face again? She started crying, but I didn't feel bad for her. I felt nothing, nothing but disgust. I'll be filing for divorce, I said coldly. And don't even think about touching a damn cent from my bank account. I'll make sure every lawyer in this city sees those pictures before you try to screw me over. Her face crumpled. Tim, please. I turned my back on her, grabbed my suitcase, and threw whatever I could into it. She tried to block the door, but I pushed past her. I didn't look back. I didn't care where I was going. I just needed to get the hell away from the woman I once called my wife. I drove for hours, aimless, my grip tight on the wheel, my mind burning. The rage had simmered down, leaving behind something colder, something sharper. Betrayal is one thing, but the way she defended it, like she had the right, like it was somehow my fault, that was what twisted the knife. I pulled into a cheap motel, the kind where the walls were too thin and the neon sign outside flickered like a dying heartbeat. I checked in, threw my suitcase on the bed, and sat there in silence, staring at the wall. The images from the photos flashed through my mind again. My wife. No, not my wife, not anymore. Candy, on her knees, on her back, smiling, enjoying it. I squeezed my eyes shut, but it didn't help. This wasn't just an affair. This wasn't a moment of weakness. This was a goddamn lifestyle. I needed to understand why she did it. I had spent 5 years building a life with her. She was my best friend, my partner. When did I become not enough? I picked up my phone, hesitating before calling her. I wanted her to feel it, to sit in the mess she had made, to wonder where I was, to be afraid of what came next. But I needed answers. I needed to hear it from her lips, to know what she had been thinking while she was throwing everything away. She picked up on the second ring. Tim? Her voice was shaky, but I could hear it, that hint of relief, like she thought I had calmed down, like she thought she could pull me back. I stayed silent. She sniffled. Where are you? I ignored the question. Why'd you do it? My voice was low, steady, a pause, then the same bull's excuses. I was lonely. You were gone so much. I needed to feel wanted. But then something changed. Maybe it was the silence on my end, or maybe she knew that those excuses weren't working anymore. Her tone shifted. The crying stopped. The mask slipped. You don't get it, do you? She whispered. My blood ran cold. What don't I get? I asked. She took a deep breath. I wasn't just sleeping with them, Tim. I waited. I wanted to hurt you. I clenched my jaw so hard I thought my teeth might crack. What? Her voice was eerily calm now. I wanted you to find out. I wanted you to feel it. I nearly crushed the phone in my grip. Why? Because you left me behind. I frowned. You got too comfortable, Tim. Too predictable. You buried yourself in your work, always thinking about the future, about our plans, but never about me. You never made me feel like I was the center of your world. I blinked, stunned. You mean to tell me you punished me by screwing 10 men in one night? Silence. I let out a bitter laugh. You could have talked to me, Candy. She sighed. I did, Tim, but you never listened. And just like that, I understood. She wanted chaos. She wanted to tear me apart, break me in a way I couldn't come back from. She wanted power. And the worst part? She thought she had won. Nuclear revenge. I hung up without another word. She wanted power over me. She thought she had ruined me. Number, I was about to ruin her. Step 1. Exposure. I spent the next few hours sending out emails, first to Jake's wife, then to the other men's girlfriends, wives, and fiancés, and finally to her job. She was a school teacher, a respected one, the kind that parents trusted with their kids, the kind that couldn't afford to have a reputation like this. I sent the pictures, the proof, every disgusting, humiliating detail, and I sat back waiting for the explosion. Step 2. Destroy her financially. I met with my lawyer the next morning. I want the fastest divorce possible, I told her. She nodded. And assets? I smirked. I want it all. See, Candy had made a mistake. She didn't know that when we first got married, I had her sign a prenup. She didn't care back then, she was just happy to be with me. That prenup? It protected everything. She got nothing. No house, no savings, no spousal support, just the clothes on her back. Step 3. Humiliation. The fallout was spectacular. Jake's wife divorced him instantly, took half of everything. The other men lost everything. One guy's fiance called off their wedding, another got fired after his company found out, and Candy, she lost her job. I heard about it from a mutual friend. Parents had gotten furious when they saw the photos circulating. The school board had no choice but to let her go. She called me, begging, screaming. "You ruined my life," she sobbed. I laughed. "No, Candy, you did." And then I blocked her number. I didn't hear from her again after that. Epilogue. I moved on. It took time, but I healed. Candy? She ended up alone. Last I heard, she was working a minimum wage job, living in a crummy apartment. None of the men she slept with wanted anything to do with her after the truth came out. She got exactly what she deserved. And me? I was free. I thought revenge would be satisfying, and in some ways, it was. Candy was ruined. She lost everything, her job, her reputation, her social life. She was alone, scraping by while I walked away with my head high, my money untouched, and my future wide open. But something still ate at me. Revenge doesn't erase the betrayal. It doesn't take back the nights I stayed up late working my A off for her, thinking I was building a future with someone who deserved it. It doesn't erase the years I spent loving someone who, deep down, was capable of destroying me without a second thought. And it sure as hell doesn't bring back the man I used to be. The aftermath. For the first few months after the divorce, I kept waiting for the anger to fade. It didn't. I could still see the images in my mind when I closed my eyes, still hear her voice making excuses, twisting it around, trying to blame me. So I did what any rational man would do. I buried it. I went back to work. I focused on my projects. I worked out. I spent weekends getting drinks with the guys, laughing like none of it mattered. And on the surface, I was fine. But deep down, I didn't trust a single fucking soul. Every time I saw a happy couple, I wanted to shake the guy and tell him, "Don't trust her. Don't believe the sweet words. Don't think for a second she won't gut you the moment it benefits her." And that's when I realized Candy hadn't just destroyed our marriage, she had destroyed my ability to love. The unexpected message about a year later, I was sitting in my office when I got a text from an unknown number. Candy. "Tim, I know I'm the last person you want to hear from, but I need to talk to you. Please, one last time." I stared at the message for a long time. She was blocked on everything. I had cut her out of my life so completely that I almost forgot she existed. But now she was back, and for some stupid reason, I responded, "Meet me at the diner on 5th, 6 p.m., 1 hour, that's all you get." The final conversation. She looked rough. Candy had always been an average-looking woman, but now, her face was pale, her hair dull. She looked like someone who had aged a decade in a year. She smiled weakly when she saw me. "Hey." I didn't respond, just sat down and waited. She sighed. "I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve that, but I wanted to tell you the truth." I frowned. I already know the truth. She shook her head. "Not everything." And then she said something that made my blood run cold. "I didn't start cheating because I wanted to hurt you, Tim. That was a lie." I tensed. "Then why?" She took a shaky breath. "Because I was pregnant." I froze. Pregnant. She swallowed hard. "I found out right before you left for your business trip. I was scared. I didn't know what to do, and then I lost the baby. My chest tightened. I'd always wanted kids. We had talked about kids, planned for them, and now she was telling me we had one and that it was gone before I even knew. I clenched my jaw. Why the fucks didn't you tell me? Her eyes filled with tears. Because I was angry. I blamed you. I told myself that if you had been home more, if you had cared more, maybe things would have been different, and I spiraled. I let Jake get into my head. I let myself make excuses. I wanted to hurt you because I was hurting. I stared at her, my hands curled into fists under the table. You threw away everything over that? My voice was low, dangerous. You fucked a dozen men because you were mad at me? She flinched. I know, it was disgusting. It was the worst mistake of my life, and I lost everything because of it. For the first time, I saw true regret in her eyes, but it didn't matter, because some mistakes can't be fixed. I stood up. Goodbye, Candy. She reached for my arm. Tim, please. I pulled away. I don't hate you anymore. She blinked, surprised. But I don't forgive you either. I met her eyes, letting her see the finality in my gaze. You're just nothing to me now. Her face crumpled, and for the first time I saw it, the realization that she had lost me forever. I walked out of that diner without looking back, and for the first time in a long time, I felt free. Epilogue. Life moved on. I dated again. It wasn't easy. Hell, it took years before I could even trust another woman. But eventually I met someone new, someone who didn't make me question every word, every glance, every touch. I never saw Candy again after that night. Last I heard, she had left town, packed up what little she had left and disappeared. And honestly, I didn't care, because she was just a chapter in my past, and I was finally writing a new one. Some scars never fully fade. Even after years had passed, I'd catch myself thinking about Candy sometimes, not with anger, not even with sadness, but with a kind of distant curiosity. Like looking at an old wound and remembering the pain, but knowing it doesn't hurt anymore. I had rebuilt myself, stronger, smarter, wiser. She was just a cautionary tale now. Moving on. I won't lie. After the divorce, dating wasn't easy. Every woman I met, I analyzed her. I looked for red flags, watched for patterns, waiting for the inevitable betrayal. But then I met Emily. She wasn't flashy, wasn't a supermodel, just like Candy hadn't been. But where Candy had been selfish, weak, manipulative, Emily was steady, real, honest. She never played games, never made me feel like I had to earn her love. It was just there. For the first time in a long time, I felt safe, and when she looked at me, I knew she would never do what Candy did. But trust, that was the hardest part. Even on our best days, I still had moments where the old fears crept in. When she'd be on her phone for too long, or when she'd mention an old male friend, my mind would whisper, "What if?" she noticed. And one night she asked me straight up, "Do you think I'm going to hurt you?" I hesitated. "No." She reached for my hand. "But you're afraid I will." I exhaled, running a hand through my hair. "Yeah." Emily didn't get mad. She didn't guilt-trip me or tell me I was being unfair. She just nodded. "That's okay. Just don't let what she did keep you from loving me the way you want to." And somehow that was exactly what I needed to hear. The last time I saw Candy, it was completely random. I was at the grocery store with Emily, grabbing stuff for dinner, when I saw her. Candy. She looked rough, thinner, hollow-eyed, wearing cheap clothes, pushing a cart half full of microwavable meals and store-brand soda. She saw me, stopped dead in her tracks. For a moment, we just stared at each other. Then she smiled. A sad, broken kind of smile. "Hey, Tim." Emily turned, looking between us. "A friend of yours?" I shook my head. "No." Candy's smile faltered, and for the first time I saw it. Real regret. Not just for getting caught, not just for losing her comfortable life, but for everything. I should have felt sorry for her. But I didn't, because in that moment I realized I won. She threw everything away. She ruined her life. And me? I had moved on. I took Emily's hand, gave Candy one last glance, and walked away. Didn't look back. Didn't care. The end. Some betrayals destroy you, some teach you, and some make you stronger than you ever thought you could be. Candy was my greatest betrayal, but she was also the best lesson I ever learned, and for that, I will always be grateful.